this is by and far a rumor. The Simpsons movie 2 is rumored to be in development. I have such a love-hate relationship with The Simpsons. It is my show. It is my go-to show. It is my desert island show, and I will always defend it. A lot of people recently have been talking about how The Simpsons is good again. The Simpsons is good again ever since midway through season 32. A lot of people say up until season 33, 34, and season 35, I believe, has started off pretty well. I haven't seen all of season 34 yet. I've seen the first couple of episodes of season 34. Probably I have 10 episodes of that season left. And I know a lot of people are saying now, because over the last couple of years, pretty much starting in season 32 and moving onward for the last couple of seasons, the show has gotten good again because it is attacking the flanderization of its main characters, not just the main characters in The Simpsons, but the entire cast of characters that have been built around the show over the course of the last 35 years. And a lot of this is true. They've had characters, that you take a character who is this way, who has devolved from any semblance of being a three-dimensional character into something completely steadfast, into something stereotypical, and someone that you can always count on for one laugh or another, or the same old joke. They've been taking these characters and putting them in situations and telling stories surrounding a specific character to focus on something that directly challenges the flanderization of that character. I forget the name of the episode. There was an episode in season 33, I believe, or a two-parter episode where they did kind of a Breaking Bad thing with Ned Flanders. There was a very fantastic episode where Marge and Homer get lost in the woods and have to learn how to love each other and fight for each other's love again. That was a good one. There was a episode where Lisa had to deal with the perception of the way the world sees her through weight and attractiveness between men and women, and how generations affect each other in that way, or how parents scar their children. The list goes on. And there was even the Treehouse of Horror episodes are really good over the last couple of years. I believe season 34 had a Death Note animation, which was great. The show itself has been renewed for season 36 up into 2025, and over 800 episodes will have been aired over the course of its 36 season run. We're not entirely sure if they're going to push forward with more seasons after 36, but I mean, they haven't stopped since, and they keep renewing in 2-season batches, with Bob's Burgers as well as Family Guy also getting 2-season runs. I believe Bob's Burgers is season 14 and 15, and Family Guy is season 22 and 23. Although recently I feel like Family Guy got the call to move into Wednesdays instead of Sunday nights, but I believe Bob's Burgers and The Simpsons are staying in that slot, and moving nights is usually a death nail for shows. So we're going to have to wait and see whether or not the Family Guy lives longer than those 2 seasons, but that is neither here nor there. It does kind of play into what I wanted to say about the Simpsons sequel movie and why I feel like maybe the time has passed on doing this. Don't get me wrong, when the series was continuously going over the course of, 2000 through 2007, when a lot of people had already given up on it, a lot of people would say that those are kind of the in-between teenage years of the show where they were still trying to find their footing. And even though the first 10 seasons were probably some of the golden age of television, everyone says those seasons are perfect. I would argue that The Simpsons was perfect in those first 10 seasons because the concept of what being an American or being someone who watches sitcoms or just TV, something The Simpsons was obviously satirizing from the very moment it premiered in 1998 or 89. I'm sorry, man, it's been so long time. The idea is there was a template for The Simpsons to riff on. They knew what they were making fun of. And at the turn of the century, the concept of the internet exploding and the splintering of what it meant for people to watch, what could be popular, how popular something had to be in order to be a success. The idea of what do you make fun of or what is a cultural touchstone that everyone understands became muddied. And I feel like they were trying for multiple seasons, I would say successfully, episode to episode, because there were still things that I would watch and I would still laugh out loud once or twice while watching the show, regardless of whether I was with someone or if I was alone. And I can't say that about something like Family Guy, or I can't say that like with something like South Park or even Bob's Burgers or something. I would watch it because I felt like it was entertaining, but The Simpsons would always make me laugh. Pretty much any episode over the course of 36 seasons or 35 seasons now, every single episode I've watched, one thing has made me laugh. And I can't say that about a lot. The idea that there was something to make fun of or something that the general audience would understand what you're trying to do and what you're satirizing made sense when the show premiered in 1989. And it made sense up until 1999, and then it became muddied, and it's still muddied today. The reason why The Simpsons is getting a little bit of a resurgence, at least as far as online viewership or online interest is because of what I said earlier. They're focusing on characters and they're telling real stories. They're not trying to make jokes. In fact, these new episodes probably are lighter on the jokes than some of the more robust seasons of the show, or even some of the lesser liked seasons. They're good stories. It's well written, and they're doing something different in their old age. People are gravitating towards it. But when the Simpsons movie came out in 2007, I feel like there was enough time in between The Simpsons being good, or the time everyone thought The Simpsons was good, and that movie's premiere, even though there was a lot of people there saying, oh, anyone watches The Simpsons anymore? How weird is that on social media in 2004 on MySpace, or 2005 on MySpace and Facebook and early days or whatever. There was a lot of people, even you meet individually, who are like, oh, I gave up on The Simpsons like years ago. It's not funny anymore in 2007. But it was still early enough in the idea of popular culture, the mind of popular culture, the people who had grown up with it, that when they announced that first movie, people were like, hey, I'm going to go see this. I like The Simpsons. This is an entirely different way to watch these characters in this world that they built over the first 10 seasons that I really appreciated. And that's one of the reasons why that movie made $500 million. But I feel like now in the interim, 2007 to 2023 and beyond, if this movie comes out in 2025, 2026, 2027 or whatever, that's 20 years from the first movie. And we have splintered our attention span so much. The Simpsons, no matter how good or how much of a resurgence it gets online, can never come back from that idea of what it was when it first came out, or those first 10 seasons. This movie cannot be a success because it has been way too long since the people who gravitated to that first movie to begin with had nostalgia for the original 10 seasons of the show. I feel like one of the things that proves this is that the Bob's Burgers movie, as popular as Bob's Burgers is, as good as Bob's Burgers is, Bob's Burgers only made $34 million worldwide in its movie. And you can point to a lot of different factors. The pandemic, obviously, that didn't do the film any favors. But this is something I feel like people obviously need to come to terms with. The idea that The Simpsons, as good as it is or has always been, The Simpsons is not something that can continue forever and have the same cultural appeal that it did when it first started. It can have a niche appeal. You can have a couple million people watch the show on a weekly basis when it's on during the season, and a lot of people gravitating towards it on streaming. You can have 36 seasons of content on a streaming platform and it consistently perform number to number with any other legacy show or new show worldwide for the rest of a time. But you can never hit the cultural touchstone that it was in those initial 10 seasons, and you can never get back to the success that it had with that first movie, because we are longer and longer away from that cultural touchstone of what The Simpsons was when it initially aired and when people started slowly giving up on it. And it is kind of a strange microcosm of everything that The Simpsons has been over the course of its lifetime, to say this represents the first movie's success, as well as the potential of what a second movie can make at the box office, will represent just how much of a fractured reality that we live in, that people still watch this show, still gravitate towards it, still pay to see it in a theater, on a streaming service, or whatever. But at the end of the day, we used to be so much more connected. We used to be so much more in line with what we liked as a culture than we are today. And that's, to me, that's strange. To me, that's something at least worth talking about. And I don't know, maybe you like it. Maybe you think that I'm way overthinking this and no one likes The Simpsons anymore, or people really love The Simpsons online now and the movie's going to do just fine and let it happen or something, or it's just going to be something in between both of those. But I'm mesmerized by the concept of what a Simpsons movie can do now in 2023, let alone 2024, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, 2030. But that is interesting, and I want to talk about it in the comment section, so share your thoughts and opinions. Guys, I don't even know if those last two showed up at all or will be used, but I wanted to make sure I got them out there because I was thinking about them pretty heavily today, and I wanted to make sure that I talked about it. Hope everyone is having I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. It's been a long one for me. I've been very, very busy, and I just wanted to make sure I can get this done before the night's end. And now I'm going to go watch some movies because I feel like I've earned it after everything I've done today. So hope you all are having a fantastic day. It's been real.